Hey everyone, welcome back to Digit Educator. We always talk about digital marketing as a growing landscape, but we don't have facts and figures for it. To help with that, I have with me a dear friend of mine, Chandra. He has been a B2B leader and has worked in LinkedIn for more than 12 years. He understands both the pulse of what digital marketing is and also about what is the hiring trends. So welcoming him on board. Hi Chandra.
Hey, thanks a lot, Akshay, for having me here.
It's a pleasure to have you. We have had so many discussions which have been so insightful, and I thought that this will be a right platform for discussing what could be the future of digital marketing.
Absolutely. I think we have been discussing for almost last 6-7 years.
Yeah.
I think we have a lot of interesting stats and points that we have discussed. And I'm glad that you're finally doing this, right? So thanks a lot for having me here.
I think a lot of people have come together to make this possible, and you have been amongst the most monumental in them. So just breaking down, I think I'll just go back to the phase nearly like 6 years back, when digital marketing was still in a nascent stage.
Absolutely.
And then COVID came in, and I think it just give that, what do you call, like the tailwind which is required to kind of push digital marketing to the next horizon, right?
Yeah.
So what has that change been? Like, how have you seen that change happening in the space of hiring and just generally how businesses have been done?
I think in the last 1 decade, we have seen a tremendous amount of change, especially how consumers are interacting today with products and brands, right? I think one of the biggest cusps of change happened during COVID. I'm sure all of us were locked in. We hardly had the resources to go out in the market and shop. But I think industry still kept continuing, and I think a lot of that push came through digital, right? Now, why digital all of a sudden took that boom? I think as a platform, as a market, we were ready. I think one of the biggest change that happened is during COVID, people had limited access to markets, hence they were all moving towards internet. And thanks to mobile penetration, which has clocked over 400% in the last 5 years, helped a lot of consumers to connect with brands directly through internet, right? And I think that's the beauty which I think during COVID we really saw. And I think the momentum will continue, and it's continuing today as well, right? If I just speak about in the last 1 year alone, there are close to around, if I speak about, there is a 35% increase in talent pool for digital marketers. Today in India, we have 1.1 million digital marketers that exist, and this pool is continuously growing.
Right.
And that signifies how market is accepting and how consumers and industries are thinking about their strategy of not only having a B2B store connection, but more of a digital environment in which they can engage their consumers to a large extent.
Right. I just want to take a few pointers from what we discussed. I think one is that when the COVID happened and the lockdown kind of came on place, I think e-commerce is something which grew significantly, and I think that it's like e-commerce and then quick commerce kind of took that second charge. But today I think digital has become essential, not just for commerce in general. It has become an integral part of every business.
Absolutely.
Right. And when we talk about being an integral part, so I just want to go more on the facts which you shared. So that there are industries which are aligned to digital already, right?
Right.
So what has been the growth in those, and are there any new emerging trends which are the new industries which are scaling up the digital effort?
Thanks a lot, Akshay, for pointing out that, right? See, we are actually seeing a big change the way typically industries are going through, right? Traditionally, the biggest consumers for digital marketing talent pool has been advertising industry and software as an industry in general, right? But right now, what we are seeing, there is a 100% increase of talent pool in core sectors like environmental services, engineering services, auto, oil and gas, right? These are industries that never used to have digital talent pool and digital marketers. Today they are having digital marketing and digital marketing community that they're building on, right? So that's the big change that we are seeing, right? Right now we have seen an incremental amount of job change, which we a couple of years back as today. There are over 15,000 plus open roles for digital marketing as a skill, right? I think that signifies the change that we are seeing from the industry perspective that we are seeing. The other trend that we are seeing, right, we are also seeing a tremendous amount of shift, which we are seeing from a growth of digital marketing in core sectors, right? And it's not just moving around hiring from talent from this industry, but we are also seeing the change in the skill altogether, right? What we are currently seeing is the digital marketing as a skill is changing, right? There are three elements I would like to touch upon. One is the soft skill, right? There's a tremendous amount of focus on soft skills today, right? Especially on the presentation skills, right? Customer centricity, right? Customer engagement has become a main stage today when it comes to digital skills. And lastly, communication. I think these are the softer angles of the skills that are changed. From a hard skill, I think there's a large construct of social media marketing and SEO, which still takes the main stage, but we are seeing a lot of emphasis on analytics, data mining as a skill that's now become an important element of digital marketing, which was not earlier, right? And I think AI is now taking the large scale where we're seeing that content and digital marketers are progressing towards AI, right? And what's interesting is we have seen that 44% of talent pool who had AI skill in last 1 year changed jobs in just last 1 year, right? So I think that the trend is going to continue. People who are going to be enabled with AI are going to fast track their careers, and that's what our data currently signifies.
Yes. I think that there are multiple points which you have touched, and I'll just try to break it down.
Sure.
I think the first one being, and we know that advertising and IT were the leaders in the digital revolution and getting digital skills onboarded. But when we talk about these core industries, like you're talking about environmental industry or something like automotive, why do you think that change is happening? And especially in environmental, like why is that change happening, and how has the business dynamics changed in some way?
I think to a large extent, right, and I'll just generally speak about like environmental services always has been a B2G business, which is business to government business, right? I think with government trying to decentralize many of these businesses, a lot of these environmental services companies, for example, your electricity, gas, even waste management that being collected at your home is no more centralized to a government department or a role, right? Now you are enabled to engage services beyond those government bodies. And I think that's what is enabling. Now, how do you educate consumers at large scale? I think one of the easiest and cheapest mediums today, and which has a very high brand recall, is digital marketing. So that's one. Two, I think that digital life cycle, if I speak about, is an end-to-end life cycle. Not only I can engage with a brand, get understanding of that brand and what are the services that are out, I can go and enroll for those services and also pay for those services and get value out of the services in the same platform. Today, I don't think so that is possible in any other way. Right? Digital is binding that. And to large extent with government push, especially India is now one of the largest digital payment provider with UPI coming in, right? The transactions are skyrocketing, and this signifies today you can do a transaction worth even a rupee to 2 rupees to even a high value transaction in UPI, right? I think that's what is enabling consumers today to move more digital and business to also move digital. And some of these traditional businesses like environmental services, or auto as a sector, right, want to engage larger audience. I think the biggest challenge is with the cost of servicing your consumers increasing, brands are finding more cheaper and more effective mediums to reach out to their consumers, right? So they are largely going digital way. They are largely trying to adopt new technologies like AR and VR as technologies on how they can reach out to their audience, right, and engage them and keep their brand alive and brand recall very high.
Right. I think one interesting point which comes out of this is that because of the fact that there is the barrier to reach out to customer has gone low with digital.
Yes.
And the fact that the whole activity of PR is now not concentrated to just releasing a publication on a newspaper or a television. Now there is a continuous effort which is happening just to build not just for consumption. I think just to create advocacy and awareness about the industry you're working in, or suppose it in the environmental case. I think a lot of advocacy which is happening is now becoming digital, and I think that could also be one of the reasons why digital is coming at the forefront for a lot of industries.
Yes, very true.
Yeah. Now coming on to the second point which you said about 15,000 jobs being available, is that like at any given point you would say around 10 to 15,000, 20,000 jobs will be available for digital?
Interestingly, if I really recall, if I look at the data back, right, just pre-COVID, the digital jobs or digital marketing jobs were less than 4,000, 5,000 at an average at any given point of time, right? We have seen a 300% increase in this particular segment in the last 3 to 4 years, right? And the way the market is going, we are going to see increasingly more and more digital marketing jobs that are going to grow, right? Now, one is you're looking at the entire digital marketing as a skill, as a standalone skill, right? And which I think will have a large focus going forward, right? but also your traditional professionals, right? For example, people in sales, people
Right.
in marketing, people in HR, people in finance now need to be more enabled with digital skills.
Right.
Right, with all, and I'll just take a simple example, right? And since I come from this background, HR is a very classic example that I take upon. Before 2019, hybrid was not a concept.
Right.
Today, hybrid is a concept that exists and it's working fine for many organizations.
Right.
Now, this has given benefit at two levels. One, the skill gap is reduced because now you can hire skill anywhere,
Right.
sitting at any place, right? So access to skill has become much more easier. Two, for organizations, I think talent cost is reduced.
Yeah.
So, an engineer that you hire in a Delhi NCR region versus if you go to a Coimbatore or a Cuddalore would be much more cheaper
Right.
than hiring someone in Delhi NCR. I think that's putting a lot of advantage. Two, gig economy is picking up
Yeah.
to large extent, right? So, how do you engage this audience to large extent? And I don't think so you can do it in a traditional means
Right.
as you are doing. So digital is going to become a larger landscape for not just from a
Yeah.
B2B perspective, but within organizations, every function
Yeah.
will need to have digital proficiency in order to survive and grow.
I think just to kind of summarize it, I think digital skills are now required not just for marketing. I think it's for even recruitment, for different verticals. I think sales, recruitment, even finance or even operations today require digital know-how because the tools and the way of operation has become so online.
Yes.
And that's why I think there is a general education required around how to use these digital tools to become more efficient. Having said that, I think one thing which you said about movement of skills, like soft skills wise, you talked about how presentation skills are becoming more and more important, how communication skills are more important. Is that a trend because the fact that people now are expecting digital marketers to be the ones who are leading the front? Like, how is that? What is the inference you can draw out for that?
Okay, that's a great point that you again brought in, right? The whole perspective of digital marketing, right? It opens up the whole world for you, right? So sitting in India right now, since if you're looking at digital as a spectrum, you can reach out to any part of the world.
Right.
I think your communication skill becomes an extremely important element because sitting in Delhi, you can even target a market like Tamil Nadu.
Right.
So you need to understand the local marketing aspect, the local communication aspect, and need to be able to customize, right?
Yeah.
And that's what when I said communication is taking a mainstream again, is not only the understanding the vernacular aspect of business is now become more important.
Right.
If you really want to have a digital spread, right? Because now you can sit in anywhere and market to anywhere, right?
Right.
And that's where communication becomes an important element on understanding the local aspects and making sure that you're able to tailor make your communication and your presentation will be very important. Right. So that's what I meant from.
So I think that would also mean, and I think I'm just inferring from it is that customer understanding and the right way of communicating with them is the way a digital marketer should look at how they want to kind of proceed if they want to do an elongated career in digital marketing.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely. See, traditionally, and actually you can resonate with me here more, right? I think earlier the way marketers will look at is one particular market, then they penetrate that market and then expand to next market.
Right.
I think this digital, the whole market penetration has been fast forwarded.
Right.
It does not take a lot of time to launch a particular market, right? Sitting in, you can do a test, you can do a very controlled environment and then scale it very quickly.
Yeah.
Hence, the agility is very important in today's world, right? And I think your entire effort in digital, right, how quick you can be to reach a market plays a major role. And that's
completely aligned on that.
That's where the vernacularity of the language becomes very important. Understanding the market is very important.
I think I completely align with what you were saying and how different funnels can be opened up together rather than just looking at one market to firstly grow to a certain level and then looking at a different market, because the effort required in opening that funnel and testing and measuring is much faster, much easier, and I think measurement kind of leads to a lot of confidence in kind of putting more investment in.
Absolutely.
You don't need to invest a bulk of money in a single market and see that what is going to work. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Now coming on to the technical skills, I think there is also evolution which is happening in the technical skills, right?
Yes.
So can you just talk about what are the right technical skills? And you have talked about analytics, which is obviously something which is coming at forefront. Anything which is changing in the way people should equip themselves as digital marketers technically?
Right. I think that's a great question, right? See, as I said, the main foreplay in this particular aspect still remains social media marketing and SEO, right?
Right.
We are seeing a very increased requirement to be more analytical, because with so much of data, with digital, the best part is you have data to
Yeah.
you, right? You need to be able to interpret the data and take out insights, right, to be more effective. I think that's where analytical and data mining comes in handy as a skill, right? And which is a must skill today for any digital marketing professional. But I think to the core, we are seeing that there's a shift which is happening. We are seeing that a large portion of members today are going and equipping themselves with design thinking capabilities, right? I think design thinking is taking the main stage now with tools like Figma, Canva being available, right? I think it's being more, design is becoming more in-house for brands and for marketers.
Right.
So equipping yourself with design thinking capabilities are going to be very important to be an effective digital marketer in the future.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I think what I've seen is, and because I've worked as an agency for a lot of years, I've seen that the initial, what I've seen is that the initial drafts which were sent to the clients are now made by the account planners themselves.
Yes.
So basically they are using Figmas or the Canvas of the world to create the first draft, and then the final cutting is actually done by the designer. But you don't need to depend on the designer for even the first draft to be sent out. So I think the efficiency in getting the client briefs to convert, I think that is also becoming easier with these tools. Now that the big elephant in the house, I think AI is now a buzzword which has been used everywhere.
Absolutely.
But when we talk about practically using AI and practically implementing AI, I think digital marketing is one of the industries which will get drastically transformed with AI.
Absolutely.
So, like you said in the stats, and if you can just narrate it, I think you said there is a movement in digital marketing which is happening with AI. So, if we can just
Sure. So, I was sharing the stat,
Yeah.
right? The digital marketers with AI skills have changed jobs. 44% of them have changed jobs in the last 1 year.
Okay.
Which clearly is indicating that people with AI skills, especially in digital marketing, are more in demand
Right.
and are more likely to get better opportunities in the market.
Right.
And they're going to be more productive in the market. And I think that's a skill that is really, the stat is really putting across in the market, right? AI is going to continue as a trend. And as you rightly pointed out, right, I think marketing as a function is going to be a forefront of the biggest consumer of AI, right? But if I really look at AI, is not only just going to be consumed by marketing, but it's going to be across all
Right.
functions, right? And I think it's going to enable how humans engage with other humans, right?
Right.
And that's where I see AI is going to remove lot of duplications,
Right.
remove redundancies, and improve human productivity.
Yeah.
And that's where the opportunity comes in, right?
Right.
Today with AI, you go to market, as you rightly pointed out. Earlier, people were dependent on designers to build.
Right.
There's a limited talent pool that's available for a particular skill. So your go-to-market used to take a long time.
Right.
Today, with all the skills, your productivity has improved. You can give your designer the final touch once
Yeah.
your client has an understanding of what does that design concept look like, right? So the conceptualization, you can leverage AI to a large
Right.
extent before putting into development framework, right? I think that's where AI will really be handy and help fast forward. Your customer engagement could be really drafted. Your communications, where especially vernacular communication that
Right.
you're looking at, you can build a lot of language models that will make it easy for you to take it to the market, right?
Right.
So you'll see general productivity going up to a large extent in terms of how business and consumers are engaging and how people to people are engaging.
Right.
And that's where we are seeing a big change that's going to come.
I think I'm just bringing in the discussion of, is AI gonna take my job? And I just want to take that in, but this is my take on it, and I'll come to you of what you understand. So my take on AI taking jobs is that when there was, if we go back in time, when there was a time when the production was low,
Yeah.
the demand used to be always higher than the supply, and the supply was leading the coefficient of what is going to be the consumption, right? So that was supply based market. After industrial revolution, I think it became more demand based market, where demand was more, demand actually was less and supply was more. So supply was being there, and exceeding supply was there. And I think there is when really the marketing play came into in being. And the recent time, which is the internet era, or the mass media era and the internet era, is been where we have gone from mass marketing to somewhat cohortize marketing.
Yeah.
I think with AI, what I see as an avenue is that we will move into personalized product solutions and personalized marketing. Not just marketing, personalized product solutions. Like the next revolution which is happening is about how we create a product which is so personalized to you that only you are using it and the other person is using something else, right? Which could be an adaptation of the same product, but it's very different for you versus someone else. So I think that is where we are moving. Where I think efficiencies will become higher, and all these cusps, right? When industrial revolution happened, or where the marketing revolution happened, or where the internet revolution happened, all of these have really increased the whole value of this earth, right? They just created a bigger GDP or bigger market for consumption, right? So I think AI will only increase that consumption.
Yeah.
And AI jobs will, there would be obviously a part where there would be some time which people will take to adapt to this changing world. But once they do, they will be able to create more productivity out of this, is what I understand.
See, I think you have nailed it, Akshay. So you have actually clearly mentioned what AI is going to do. I don't know if there is a replacement to human brain. AI can never replace a human brain, right? So let's be very straightforward about that. The job market and the labor market is undergoing change, right? There is a World Bank report which clearly states, and this report came twice. In 2017, when the report came in, it mentioned that 28% of skills that we had 5 years back, that is in 2012, are no more relevant anymore, right? And by 2030, 68% of skills that we have today will not be relevant. It means that there are going to be newer skills that are going to be required by humans to learn, right? And I think one of the best part about human brain or human mind is it has the ability to learn and adapt, right? So I think we will learn and adapt to newer skills and that's required for the future, right? AI will remove all the mundane jobs that today human does, right? So obviously today we have human population doing that. Now they will get the bandwidth, will get free. Now this is where I think most organizations will need to look at their redeployment strategy and where they need to relocate, and also puts an effort on terms of what are the skills that they need to learn, right? I think there is going to be a much more larger opportunity through AI that's going to be created. And just to give one example, right? Today the cost of personalizing any product to a consumer is extremely expensive.
Right.
And I think AI can really reduce that. And imagine if you can personalize a lot of your aspects, right? The demand it will create in the market, it's going to be insane.
Yeah.
Now that needs to be serviced at the end of the day, right? And that for that you need a human capital. I think that's where the opportunities will come, right? Traditionally, the way business we're doing is changing, right? Because you have digital marketing, you have payments. That's creating a much more newer kind of demand in the market. You have a much newer, younger generation in India that's consuming. If you're serving the world, you're addressing a different generation altogether. So how do you address that, right? I think it's only going to put a much more roles in the market with newer skills. And it's all about how we evolve ourselves and learn newer skills quickly so that we are able to capitalize. And I just give you an example, right? In digital marketing, people with AI skills are getting much larger opportunities than as compared to those who do not have an AI skill in their profiles.
So I think very important point which comes out of this is about upskilling, right? Upskilling and learning, and I'll try to kind of conclude this session by saying that you should always be a learner. You should always keep on learning new skills, and to this initiative we have started Digit Educator, and hopefully we can bring in more skills and more learning to you.